Welcome to Linux Saloon, a place to discuss tech, open source, and where Linux is always on tap. Each show we have a talk about a Linux project, such as a distribution, desktop environment, application. We also chat about the news or any variety of topic, anything that is Linux, tech, and open source related. If I don't bite my words, is on the table for discussion. I'm Nate, a Linux fitness and vintage tech enthusiast with an almost unhealthy obsession with the OpenSUSE project, and with me today, I've got a fantastic panel of people. I've got Bill, who goes by CT Linux, because I think it means country time? I don't know. I got Neil, Dale, Natalie. I have a hard time reading this one. Is it Trevino? Trevine? I don't know. Ben, Jinda, Mike, Seeker, and Ricky. So how is everybody?
Excellent.
Good, yeah.
Good.
Something
like that.
I do not like the cold, but I do love Christmas time. I have the Christmas lights going behind me. Normally I'd have a tree, but you can't see the tree because of where I'm positioned today, whatever. Can't see a tree, but I do love the lights. The lights make the cold winters more palatable. Yeah. So if you'd be so kind and hit that like button and subscribe if you are feeling up to it. You can join the chat here on Discord. Provide your voice, your face potentially, so it's not just my ugly mug here on the worldwide interwebs. And also, if I can talk less, that'll make the show so much better. You can join our Discord or Telegram, keep that conversation rolling. Also, be sure to do that straw poll. We have a straw poll about AI, because everyone's talking about that. So, on the docket for today, we're going to be talking about it's an Applicaiton Appetizer, so we're going to be talking about different multimedia podcatching or streaming applications. We've got a few of them on the list right now. Do some housekeeping. News, if there's some time. A community free poll. We've got some, I guess we have some, is it StormOS news or is it EcoOS? I don't know, but we got the whole crew here from that community of good times to be had. But first, what have you been doing in Linux and tech? Bill, you gave me this little teaser ahead of time, and I was all kinds of excited. I don't know what's going on, but you said something about UptimeKuma. What is this? What is this voodoo you're talking about here?
So I'll give you the scenario first.
Okay.
We had a customer at work who, in a very secured environment, has to know at all times whether any of their security equipment goes offline. And what has been happening is the security manager finds out when it's too late. For instance, a camera that stopped working hours ago, and per the laws in the state of which I live, that's not supposed to happen. They went to their security provider, who said, sure, we can sell you a whole bunch of cloud monitored cameras, and this is the cost per month to monitor them. The IT manager for that company came to me and said, is there anything else that you know of that will do this? And I said, sure. So we set them up with UptimeKuma, which is a simple container to deploy on either Podman or Docker. And all it does is it monitors things. And once it monitors things, then you can attach an action to that monitor. So it's action, or the monitoring takes notice. An action is a deliverable such as a text notification, an email, whatever have you, and then effectively a dashboard. So we created a simple UptimeKuma container for them with the dashboard that has all of their cameras in it with a little red or green light. So somebody that's monitoring the system can say, one of the outdoor cameras ceased to work. There's probably water in it. We should go change that. And we have been able to save them, I'd say, $2,800 per month based upon the fact that their vendor wanted to charge them $10 per camera per month to monitor. So all of that money can then go into other more critical things that they need. Very simple to set up, very powerful to use, widely well known and often overlooked. So I can't speak highly enough for UptimeKuma if you need a simple container to monitor up or down status of things, whether they're devices, websites, whatever have you.
This looks awesome. I've never heard of it before until today. And this is something I've been looking for a long time. Maybe I should have asked you about it last time we did Linux Out Loud, but I didn't. So I have 3 manufacturing plants I have to monitor. And it'd be nice to have a dashboard to monitor all the cameras, to monitor another like different pages for the different things I have to monitor, so I can just look at them real quick, make sure everything's green across the board. Oh my gosh, holy cow! Do you know how awesome this is, Bill?
If you have any questions about how to set it up, and I know you as an engineer, you love to tinker with things and try to get them working, but if you hit any stumbling blocks, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to give you a little bit of guidance on the way should you need it.
Yeah, this is great. Oh my gosh. So how easy is it to create the different dashboards? Like, could you?
Not hard at all.
Not hard. Okay.
Somebody with your level of Linux experience and
barely an inconvenience.
Yeah, you won't have any issue at all with it. I think you're.
Hi, Michael.
Hey, Michael.
Hola.
I don't think you're going to have any problems. I think it'll be real straightforward. And something that I always find is it's the simplest containers, the simplest applications that are often the most overlooked. And here's something you can leverage to your benefit. If you want to expand upon it through Prometheus, Grafana, Libriana Mess, whatever have you, you can then add on to it. But this is a great, easy dashboard to show someone something is working or something is not.
I can't wait till Monday. Who here says that kind of nonsense? This is such a cool thing.
I think that's the first time anyone's ever said that sentence.
Yeah,
you should never say that sentence again. How dare you?
So I like Mondays because it's chest and tricep day, and that's my favorite gym day in the week also. So
sure. Okay. Yeah. So at least you like it for the right reasons, for something you enjoy rather than something terrible.
My gym is right there.
Of course. And there's that too.
Yeah.
That commute is way too far.
It is. It's 285 feet from my bed. So anyway, yeah, that's awesome. This is, yeah. See, Natalie just put in the Discord. So if you are part of the chat here, like part of the Discord chat, you could see what Natalie just posted. So that's for the, for us. That's really cool. Man. So let me ask you this, Bill. When you set these dashboards up, do you use this for yourself personally too? Like, do you have things set up to monitor your own things? Or this is more like an enterprise tool that you would use?
The reason why I haven't set it up for any of my personal assets is just because I don't really need to. That's all in my brain.
Okay.
And I'll know if something isn't working here at home because I'll get other notifications from my NAS that will tell me, hey, the power is out or the internet went offline. And usually if that's the case, then a lot of other things are not working. But at work, we use it extensively. It monitors every server and every service that we host for our customers. We use it for monitoring external connectivity to our customers' internet connections. So if an internet connection goes offline, we know about it. And it's a little bit more foolproof than some of the APIs that our network stack that we deploy has in place now. And it's just very simple. If the UptimeKuma shows status of down for more than 5 minutes to an internet connection, a ticket is generated in our system.
Really?
And then we call our customer and say, hey, we just want to make sure everything's okay. If we don't get through, we assume that there's an internet outage or something else is going on. So we have some fail-safes in place. And you can make as many dashboards as you want. You can set it up however you like. We, in fact, used some AI to help us deploy it at mass scale. It's very easy to back up, restore. I can't speak highly enough about it for something very simple and straightforward to set up for monitoring services.
Now, let me throw this at you. How about UPSs? Could you have it monitor UPS status as well?
Indirectly, yes, but I would highly suggest monitoring UPSs through... Actually, let me back up. If your UPSs are network monitored, then you may or may not have any luck with that. I would highly consider something more like APC UPSD or NUT if you don't have APC UPSs. You could also monitor your UPSs that are networked for statuses such as battery kicked on, battery kicked off. Now, UptimeKuma might say, oh, the UPS isn't reporting anymore. And maybe that's something you absolutely want to address, because if it's not reporting, you don't know if there's a problem until it's too late. And then you get all the angry phone calls if you're any kind of IT professional. So having both solutions in place is great. I actually monitor my UPSs through Home Assistant. So
that's actually how I monitor things at home. Is Home
I
Assistant.
actually, yep, Home Assistant we use for that. I also deploy Home Assistant at work for customers, and I tell them metrics such as this is how much power your server room is using.
That's really cool. Now, are there any integrations with, not that it matters, Kuma into Home Assistant?
I haven't tried that yet, but people on my
Something
team
to
have.
think about. Okay.
And I'm known for paying engineers in my company to come up with those sorts of crazy ideas. I think they have it working at a couple of customers. I can check with them and let you know on a future episode of Linux Saloon.
Sure, that'd be great. Wow, very cool. I'm really glad you shared this, because now I was going to take some time off, over the Christmas time, but now I think I'm going to be nerding out instead with this.
I think you should still take the time off over the Christmas break. I am actually taking time off over well, I'm taking time off for Christmas break as well. So hint, hint, it's a good time to reach out to me if you need to know more about it.
I think there was no question he wasn't going to take time off. It's a question of now he doesn't have to spend it doing something else, doing some work research, because you already gave him everything he needs to know.
So then Merry Christmas from the Sudo Show to Linux Saloon. You got your helpful tip for Christmas. We bought you
and other thing about the Home Assistant thing, I looked at the Kuma Git repo for it, and it doesn't look like there's anything, but it also looks like actually writing more integrations is fairly easy.
Action item, you'll write the integration.
No, I'm not. No. For a web developer, because it's all written in Vue and TypeScript. So, if you are familiar with web technologies, it should be fairly straightforward to plug this in, because everything interacts through essentially web service calls.
That's really cool. I don't know about you, but I'm excited. I think I got everything I need out of Linux Saloon. So, hey, thank you, everybody, for... I'm just kidding. I want to go play. That is super cool. Well, thanks again, Bill. I'll make sure I...
Happy to help.
Yeah. Hot dog, man. You were just a veritable fountain of good ideas. Well, speaking of veritable fountain... No, actually, I wanted to, before I move on, just once again, you and Neil are on a podcast called The Sudo Show, or Sudo.
Correct.
Sudo or Sudo?
It is technically pronounced
Both.
Sudo Show.
It is Sudo Show.
Both are correct. How dare you?
Okay, Michael disagrees with us. So,
Because sudo technically is what they want you to say, because it's super user do or switch user do, sure, whatever. But sudo show sound good, so that's what it is.
Sudo is also...
yeah, but that means we're a fake show. How dare you?
No, what we say...
There's no P in sudo.
And then it becomes sudo.
Oh,
I like
that's
it.
good too.
That I believe.
That's good too. And anyway, so just a real quick plug. What is Sudo? What is your show about?
The Sudo Show is where business meets open source. We talk about where businesses use Linux in their everyday work. We talk about how they give back to the Linux community, help upstream. We talk about how small businesses, home labbers, large businesses, students can learn about open source and how to implement solutions like UptimeKuma in their business. We will be launching some new episodes next year of our show, so please stop by our Discord, our Matrix, our YouTube channel, because there's going to be some really neat stuff coming along. Neil is one of our co-hosts and a fountain of information regarding anything you want to know about standing up open source or Linux infrastructure.
Well, bit by bit, I've been pushing more and more open source solutions to displace the proprietary ones at work. And, or I should say, also, not necessarily all open source necessarily, but more Linux friendly things. So like moving away from Adobe to using a multi-platform, like PDF authoring, editing software, doing things to like, because my dream is to have workstations that are not Windows. So I don't know how far. I feel like that's still off in the distance, but I'm making very slow progress to get there. So anyway, since open source means business in my world, then your show is cut out for a guy like me to learn something.
Exactly. But if you're a home labber, you're a student who wants to know more about how to incorporate Linux into business, then our show is going to be for you.
Fantastic. Do you guys have guests too?
We will be having guests, and don't worry, we will be in touch with you.
Will I ever get on the guest list? Because usually I'm not invited to parties for numerous reasons.
I think he just implied that you are.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. Very excited. Well, excellent. Well, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Probably should move on to the StrawPoll. So, Eris put together these fantastic StrawPolls. Without Eris, I'm kind of like a ship without a rudder sometimes. But he put together a StrawPoll. It says, have you used AI to generate images or video? And so I'll give you just a few moments to get in there and do that StrawPoll here. And then I'll look at the results. But I'll get to the replies first. So somebody replied to others saying, I use Night Cafe to generate wallpaper images for my computer since good, super ultra-wide images are hard to find. Plus, Night Cafe gives you free credits if you generate content consistently. I have 850 credits to my name and have not spent one thin dime. So I wonder if those credits are like Republic credits toward the end, like in Star Wars, where they don't work on the outer rim.
100%.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you.
I like that.
It doesn't work on Sora.
Doesn't work on what? The credits? Only mine.
No, yeah, the credits don't work on Sora. Yeah.
All right. So we'll go into the results here. At 32%, no more than on 3 occasions has someone used AI to generate images or video. At 28%, there's never. Also at 28%, tied for second is more than on 3 occasions, and then in third place, other for at 11% ish. So
I feel like the margin of error here basically says it's all the same.
Yeah, kind of does.
Like it's all
split.
equal.
So I wonder if that is. So I would say the typical crowd that would join a Linux Saloon group and talk nerdy stuff, we're probably a little more willing to accept technologies.
I was assuming it was going to be higher because of that, though.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I assumed that was going to be higher, but because it's split, that's kind of interesting.
It is interesting. I've used it
I'm
numerous
not
times.
surprised. I'm
Do you
not
think
surprised,
Linux-
honestly.
Do you think are we becoming Luddites? Are Linux open source folk becoming Luddites? Is that what's going on here?
Well, maybe in the
Never.
classical sense of a Luddite, like someone who doesn't just go headfirst into new things, but actually takes the opportunity to methodically understand something before the consideration of adoption. Because Luddite didn't originally mean, oh yeah, you shied away from technology overall. That came later. The original meaning was
I 100% jumped feet first into the deep end, no problem.
Oh, of course you did. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a given for you, Michael.
Because why not?
Because
That's
you're
all I did.
7'7", it's easy for you to jump feet first in because you won't sink into the bottom end of the pool.
That is typically true, but that's not why.
But I think what is actually more likely is that when you look at the range of opinions about how people in the open source world, or at least tangentially interfacing with free and open source stuff, the perception and opinions of AI, ML, particularly LLM-based stuff like what we have today, is very polarized. And I think the poll results reflect that. There is a very deep split among the very large community about how to deal with it. And the poll shows that split still endures.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see. I think for me, I don't really use it. I mean, I've used it to generate images, and usually I like, yeah, okay, that's neat. But then I find human-generated images more useful. So, like, it's fine, but something just looks dystopian about it, and I don't know what my problem is. So, I don't know.
Sometimes I've used it for a variety of different things, but there was this one a use case that I actually used it for making some content. I made a episode of Twill where I talked about Crux, and Crux Linux, for anyone who's not familiar with it, has been around for a very long time. And it's actually the inspiration for Arch Linux. So it's the predecessor to Arch, although Crux is still around. And their logo has not been like updated since like the 90s. So it's super pixelated and very tiny. And I was like, hey, AI, could you make a high res version of this? And it surprisingly worked well. Like it actually pretty much did it. And so I was able to use that in the visuals of the show. So in some cases, I mean, I wouldn't have been like relying on that to make something like unique or like a logo or something. But in this case of just all I'm trying to do is make something that doesn't look like it was, 5 pixels. It worked out pretty good.
Gotcha. No, it makes sense. Yeah, I've used it to like to generate some things that like a scene or whatever, and then I would kind of strip some of the bits out of it and then layer it with something else. But I didn't really. Yeah, it's just okay. I think. I don't know. I do have to say though, the there's this barrage of Mr. Rogers shorts on YouTube made with, I think it's Sora, and they're hilarious. And I just say I mean you can tell it's AI generated, but they're hilarious.
Well, now I have to go look for those now.
Yes.
I have used AI.
Yeah.
I have used AI to make images for making Godot projects, game engine projects.
Oh, okay.
And, I'm not professional. I'm not making any money. I'm not publishing any games. I'm just messing around with it. So I have used it to make images for that.
That's cool. There's always itch.io if you want to, publish something there.
Yeah, if I ever make anything good enough, and if I ever actually complete one of them, I'll consider it.
Well, how do you know it's good enough unless you've shared it? Because just saying.
Now, I did have 2 games published on the Google Play Store.
Oh, really?
A couple of years ago. Yep, and it did pretty well, and I just again wasn't making any money off of it. I put it there for free, which that's what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And then just rules got ridiculous, and it wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah, well, if it's not fun, don't do it, I guess. I did a game a long time ago for the Amiga, and I was actually just looking at it, because someone did a playthrough on YouTube of a game I made in like 1997. And I thought to myself, man, it'd be kind of fun to like revisit that with all the time I have. But yeah, I don't know. It'd be fun to revisit that and actually do something more with it. But anyway, haven't really figured out which path I want to go. But anyway. AI, pictures, art. I just don't think AI should take over art. AI should do like the things I don't want to do, like laundry and cleaning out the chicken coop, stuff like that. They can leave art alone.
I mean, the thing is, though, right? Like, we can't control whether they're going to use it or not, right? Like they're just going to train off our data anyways. So why are we not just embracing it and using our share of it and just generating whatever we need? That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The genie's out of the bottle. You're not going to stick the toothpaste is out of the tube. I don't know how you're going to put it back in there. So I use some local AI stuff for helping me with things too, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Local AI stuff is nice.
Yep. There's a lot of neat applications out there. Maybe what we should do for an application appetizer. There's just a thought. I'm just throwing it out there, seeing if it goes over like a stinking. Anyway, I'm not going to go on. Let's see if it goes over well.
Like an AI chat.
Like what local AI tools do you use, or have you used, or applications? Maybe like an application appetizer with like local AI stuff that doesn't utilize the cloud, or maybe utilizes it in a different way. I don't know. Just thinking. Because there's a.
And also,
chat.
if you have used the cloud AI, how many times have you screamed at it for saying stuff that's completely nonsense?
I don't use ChatGPT anymore, so no, not in a long time. Yeah. Well, I guess we go ahead and get to the. What?
Do you use Google Gemini though?
Nope.
I do. And yes, I do yell at it for being wrong.
Yeah, I use Gemini Nano Banana.
Yeah, that one too. Like, it's just kind of funny because it's like they now expect you to yell at it to make it. Like, there's actually like tips on AI training where if you yell at it, it sometimes works better than if you just ask it to do the right thing.
I was actually talking with a friend of mine who said that if he yells at his AI assistants, they actually start to sound depressed and they don't necessarily want to help him. They become rather reticent in their habits. So I told him, why don't you thank them and be nice to them and see if they are more productive for you? Just curious if that will work. And he came back to me a couple of weeks later and said, I think that actually helped.
That's funny.
That's funny.
Well, see,
So
Some of them like being berated and some like compliments, I guess.
I'm always very polite to the AI. Anytime I have ask it for help or something. Usually it's like Scrub Ghost. I use it mostly for work. Like, I got a technical issue. I don't know how to write this YAML, or I need to be able to do a kuvert command to be able to do this specific thing. And so I know what I need, but I just don't know how to string it together properly. And so it's been very educational to kind of get me up to speed a lot quicker. And if it's not, but I'm always extremely nice to the AI, because when our robot overlords take over, I want them to remember that I was one of the, polite ones. So they'll kill me last. So
I corrected Google Gemini one time, and it gave me that standard. Oh, I'm sorry, you are correct. I'll remember that. And then I actually asked it, so are you going to get this answer right for only me in the future, or does this help correct your database for everybody? And then it told me that it would only correct it for me.
That is like, so when I rubber duck with Gemini, I dispense with all the human niceties. I am very brisk, I'm very direct, and that's about it. And it doesn't seem to negatively or positively affect. It doesn't change anything about how it seems to interact with me. It always comes back with very effusive phrasing, which disturbs and confuses me. But it doesn't seem to become depressed with me. So there is at least that. I don't think I've ever seen the chatbot come back to me being depressed.
I talk to the AIs like I talk to any person, as politely as possible, unless it's a brother, because I don't know. I just feel like that's the better way to be, but that's just me.
No, I mean, it's just more of like, I was just bringing it up because there was a Reddit, it's like the whole mega thread on Reddit, like discussing that they found like tricks and tips of different ways to make the prompts work better and stuff. And one of them was yell at them. And then there was a bunch of tests of people yelling, and it was like, it would stop trying to repeat the same thing and then would actually like kind of force it into readjusting like what it was actually supposed to do the task, rather than just kind of like slightly tweaking. So this was Claude, GPT, and Gemini that they gave reference to. I just thought it was kind of hilarious that they found a pro tip was to scream at it.
Now, are they actually yelling at it, like speaker yelling, or just typing in all caps with exclamation points?
Sometimes, yeah, it's more like vulgarity in some cases, but also in the when you can talk to them now, that if you yell, apparently it does help somehow.
Well, it's like children when they can't.
Now, this is just what I heard.
They're trained to de-escalate.
Yeah, this is just what I heard. I don't have any hands-on experience with it.
Yeah,
I also want to remind people very, very, because we're talking about how we interact with these things. I want to remind people that in general, these systems do not have cognition. They are pattern mechanisms that they use statistical analysis, and they're trained on a corpus of data to identify the ways to they use probability to figure out how to write text back to you. It is.
I know of at least 3 of them
on
that passed the
standard
Turing
cognition.
test.
So, whether Cubicle decides to talk nice to it because he thinks that they're going to turn into the robot overlords that'll squish all the rest of us, or
I'll be last.
That's not a theory. That's inevitable.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, Skynet's right around the corner, which
I think
may
it
or
is.
may not be true.
Yeah, it is. As soon as Google decides to rebrand.
Oh Lord. And I just talk briskly more like facts to it because, again, I'm using it as a rubber ducking mechanism, and I don't really use it as a communication thing. I want to basically make it clear to people that, who are listening to this is basically playing the probability game for how the thing responds to you. This is not about whether they actually think, because that is not how they function today. AGI, actual intelligence in the sense that what we think of as intelligence, is very far away. And I suspect that we are not going to be traveling down the road that would get us in that direction anytime soon, because that goes into neural networks and specialized hardware and all kinds of other stuff that some of it doesn't actually exist yet. And that is a expensive endeavor when the things you need to do AGI don't exist yet.
Yes, I'm aware of that, but I still feel like if I put out good things into the universe, good things will come back to me. Now, I haven't been able to prove this at all.
Sure.
It's not worked out in my favor, but I like to still believe in that
And that's totally fine, but not everyone who is listening or watching or whatever, whether it's now or later, has the necessary background. So that's why I'm explaining this right now, because this is a really this is one of those knife edge topics when it comes to how does this affect society? How does this affect human interaction? How are we supposed to deal with it? How are we supposed to incorporate it into our lives, if we are supposed to at all? It goes into a lot of very uncomfortable side tangents. So I am just kind of reminding people that these things do not think. That is not how they work.
Can I pretend?
That's the thing. But
Yeah.
no, please don't.
Yes.
I'm serious. Do not pretend.
I think Nate's right about just working on good vibes.
Yeah.
Sure, good vibes are fine, but also remember that
They probably talk to each other about us.
Yeah.
Grok probably calls up Gemini and says,
don't
"Hey,
have
this
the ability to
cubicle
build a
Nate guys." I know, but
He's
I
so
like
kind.
Yeah, he's actually really nice. You should talk to him. He's pretty chill dude. He asks me these really nerdy questions about Commodore 64s and how tokens work and Commodore Basic, and he's all right.
Yeah. He gave me a digital high five yesterday.
He did. In fact, I've said that many times. I said high five. That's what I said.
People make high five into a thing. That's just not a phrase I want to hear. Digital
It's
high five is
100%.
okay. High five, no.
High five, Nate. High five.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
exactly.
No.
Good vibes and vibe coding. That's what we're
That's
talking
right.
about here.
I don't see any problems with that.
Nope.
All right. So, yeah, check out that AI slap out there. You might enjoy it. All right. So I guess we go and move on to the application appetizer. If you hope you came hungry for something digital. So today the topic was, I think this was inspired by, I think Mike. Mike, were you the one that suggested this? I don't know. I'm going to blame you. So the podcatching or media catching applications. What do you use? And so I thought I'd just kick it off with the one that I probably use the most for all my multimedia needs is VLC. So I don't know if you know this, but VLC was originally called the Video LAN client. Anybody know this? No?
Yes.
Yeah, a long time ago it was called that.
Yeah. Well,
It's still called that.
Well,
that hasn't
technically,
changed.
yeah. I mean,
Technically, I think the client, I mean, the app itself is just VLC now, but the project is Video LAN still.
Anyway, so that's where VLC comes from. So it's a free open source cross-platform, if I could talk, media player developed by the nonprofit Video LAN organization. It's renowned for playing many media file types and also disks and streams and everything. So you can actually watch stream content. In fact, I used to use it all the time for internet radio when that wasn't really you couldn't do it in the web browser before the web browser could do it. And so it's built
and also
support.
VLC is a good option for IPTV stuff.
Really?
Yeah, you can just watch
why?
streams directly inside VLC.
I didn't know that. What?
So do you know why it is called the Video LAN client?
Yes, because it was it began in 1996 as an academic initiative for students to in France, I believe. It was to stream video across the campus network, and it was written like back in 1998.
Sure.
So
do you know why it's
So
called
actually,
Video LAN client?
the real name, why it's called that is because it was originally a competition for movies and TVs with Disney, and they're making their own amusement park called Videoland.
Oh,
No,
they dropped the D?
The reason
Yeah,
is
they-
because there's a
They
Video
dropped the D
LAN
because it was
server.
too many letters.
Oh,
The reason is that there's also a Video LAN server.
really?
VLC and VLS were two parts of one solution by those students.
Huh. I didn't know that part.
Now, VLS has been deprecated, retired, not really talked about for years, because most of the features of the Video LAN server are now in the Video LAN client. You can stream
So one
to
absorbed
another
the other?
endpoint from VLC. Like, you can send video over the network through VLC itself, so that kind of obviated the need for VLS.
That's interesting.
Earlier, you were saying if people had a hunger for some applications, and what we just found out is that VLC ate the server.
It did.
Pretty much.
That's pretty wild. I did not know that. I know you could stream with it. Like years ago, I used to do like across my network stream video, but it just stopped working like I expected it to work, and I haven't used it. I think ever since running a media server on my server, I haven't really thought to use that. But that's pretty cool. What would be neat though is if either with Jellyfin or MB or something, if I could actually have multiple clients streaming the same content at the same time so I can go from one room to another and keep watching the show. That would be cool. I'm sure there's a way to do that.
Well, you're just talking about multicast. Like, you have one thing that sends to multiple endpoints, and there you go.
Did you swear at me?
Yep, multicast.
That's cool. So anyway, some criticisms, or so I should say some milestones first for VLC player. It plays virtually everything. Here's some highlights I should say. So DVDs, Blu-rays, streams, webcams, even damaged or incomplete files apparently. Supports advanced features like hardware acceleration, subtitles, conversions, and network streaming. There we go, there's the streaming part. It's cross-platform, so you can use it on the important, in the ranking of importance, we'll say Linux, Android, Windows, and then I guess Mac OS and iOS if you feel like it. So also there's no ads or tracking. It's completely free, no spyware, and privacy focused. And so it did have some. There was some. It has a little more resource heavy than some other alternatives like MPV. Or MVP? MPV. And so it does consume more RAM and CPU, higher power drawn laptops, or choppy playback in some scenarios. So it's feeling bloated due to its all-in-one toolkit. And there were some security vulnerabilities, I guess, from buffer overflows, from malicious files, and plugin exploits some time ago. So also the interface does some believe is it's functional but a little bit dated, feeling less customizable than modern players, and occasionally glitches on Linux Wayland. There's some great areas.
VLC is like the OG awesome application, but it also has not been updated and like the overall interface and structure. Like the VLC 4 has been in development for like 5 years or something.
More than that. I think they announced it originally, in 2018, 2019? So it's almost, 7 years, 8 years now?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while, and that's like a whole modernization.
It was supposed to come out in 2021.
And we could just, cross our fingers someday.
Someday, maybe.
I'm actually perfectly happy with the interface. I like it better than the next one I was going to talk about. But did anybody have anything they want to throw out there? I know that Dale, you talked about AntennaPod as something. But anyway, real quick though. So on the VLC, it's a reliable workhorse. I like it. I'm very happy with it. I've tried using other things, but I'm just like, VLC I think just does it slightly more better. So.
Indeed, better.
Better.
Yeah, I've been using gPodder as my podcast client, and I use AntennaPod to sync it to my phone. So it's kind of cool.
I thought gPodder was like deprecated or something.
Works fine for me. That's all that matters.
True.
It's 20 years old, but they have it out there as a flat pack, or you can get the platform packages. So.
Yeah,
and also they have a plugin for Nextcloud, so you can sync. Yeah, you can sync to your Nextcloud.
Yeah, I used gPodder. It was a long time ago, but I replaced it with another thing. We'll get to later that. But also AntennaPod I do use on my phone for podcasts. I like it because it has the ability to skip like dead air essentially. So with some podcasts where the conversation is a little bit slower, there's more I don't know, pauses in the speaking, it'll compress it a little bit, and so you can get through a podcast a little bit quicker. I like to I feel like Johnny Five, short circuit, input. I want to get more when I have the opportunity to actually listen. So I like that ability.
Yeah, I also agree with anything that a podcast or an audiobook that can just skip the pauses. Unless the audiobook is a story, then no. But if it's like a, some kind of educational value, I'd want to skip all the pauses.
Yeah. So, so gPodder, I thought it was, for some reason I didn't like gPodder. Do I have it still installed? No, I don't have it installed anymore. But I did use it for a while, but I didn't somehow it didn't quite
I tried it too. I didn't care for it.
It lacks some features.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple, but, I'm kind of a simple guy, so we work well together.
AntennaPod seems to have all of the bells and whistles you might want that I need, and it's free, ad-free, and open source.
I use it to be able to sync my gPodder, all my podcasts that are on my desktop, to my phone. That's what I use AntennaPod for.
I mean, if you want super simple, GNOME podcast.
Yeah.
Isn't that,
there you go.
Isn't that what gPodder is? I guess not. I've also used Amarok for my podcatcher. That was great until it wasn't, because it would just crash. But I like being able to create like playlists. I could interleave different podcasts together, like a big playlist, and that was kind of fun. I bet I could probably do it with something else.
It has been. Well, Amarok has been revitalized.
Yeah, it even got ported to Qt 6, and it's like made releases now.
Yep, and I use it. I use it, and I love it. I love it again.
So I actually stopped using it recently because it won't go from one song to the next automatically. I have to keep hitting play, and I can't find why it stopped doing that. So
the playlist loop feature is now off by default. You can turn it on though.
No, I was going through and I checked all those buttons, and it didn't change it.
It's not a button.
What?
It's
at the bottom.
It's a
at
preference.
the bottom of the well, it should be on by default, so it should just go to the next song.
Well, basically, the behavior is like how YouTube does the autoplay thing, right? Like if you're in a YouTube playlist and you toggle autoplay, and you turn it off, then it won't move to the next item for you automatically. Amarok now does the same thing.
But it should be on by default in the first place, though.
Yeah, but it's not. That's what I'm saying.
But yeah, they should fix that. But also, really, a playlist. The whole reason a playlist exists is to continue playing. So, like, they should just let that be.
I mean, I don't use playlists that way, so I actually turn off autoplay for everything.
All right, I'm gonna dig through the settings here because I'm calling shenanigans.
Or I could have just tried to make you open up Amarok again and go look at everything.
Look at playback. I don't see any settings here for any of that here. Maybe I'm just a numpty and I just don't know.
Or maybe I could have just made you open up Amarok.
Maybe you did. Either way, it didn't work.
But in all seriousness, for podcast stuff, I actually use KDE Kasts because it lets me subscribe to them and it lets me walk through the episodes and listen to them in a bundle pretty easily.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Yeah, I think it was made just a few years ago, but I don't think that anyone's ever really promoted or talked about it. But I like it because when my original podcast app that I used to subscribe to things went away, it was able to import because I just brought all of the subscriptions over because it's just RSS, so who cares? And I was able to continue listening to stuff that way. And so, I would throw up on Kasts and then make breakfast and listen to podcasts while I do it.
It's Kasts, just called Kasts. K.
Yep.
A-S-T-S.
Yes. Yep. I mean, what else did you expect?
No, I just thought KDE just never changes. It should just never change. So should I install the flat pack?
Except for the ones that don't use the K.
I use the native package, but I mean, because it's whatever.
Shouldn't matter in this case.
Yeah, in this case, it doesn't matter. All the audio formats are freely accessible at this point.
Well, I mean, it looks good, except they're advertising a light theme on it, which is, that don't do that. So that doesn't sell me there. But it looks like a nice interface. I'm going to check that one out.
Normal people like the light interface.
Nope. I'm sorry. That is incorrect.
Fake news. Hashtag fake news.
Yeah, it is. That's I've never been offended on this show before until just now.
Dark
the
mode
light theme is also the only one that can be dynamically recolored, which is why it's the Plasma default. If you use a dark theme, you cannot. When you use color accents in the Plasma color appearance settings, they don't affect dark panels or the dark mode Plasma, but they do affect light mode Plasma and will recolor the entire user interface if you tell it to do so.
Why would you recolor anything but dark?
That sounds like
because I like my computer. I like my UI to be red.
I think you should change your UI to flashing red and yellow.
Yes, red and yellow.
Yellow would hurt. No.
The
I like this.
Was it hot dog stand?
Yeah,
Yeah.
hot dog
Oh
stand,
my
yeah.
gosh! You know, somebody made a hot dog stand plasma color scheme. Like, I
As
wanted
they
to be
should.
like, that was the one time I was like, I want to throttle somebody because that was a horrible color scheme.
You know what? Okay, I'm going to change based on this new information. Dark theme or hot dog stand theme. Those should be the only options. No more, none of this light theme stuff.
Agreed. And maybe default hot dog stand.
Yeah.
Well, then, Michael, you better get on it. Make a hot dog Linux and do it.
No. I thought about it, but no.
That would actually be a neat distro name, Hot Dog Linux.
Well, you know, the Fedora generic branding has a dancing hot dog with the mustard making progress. So,
Oh god.
We could call
Well,
it a
that's fun.
continuation of like the old puppy dog Linux, yellow dog Linux. Now we just have
Mm.
hot dog Linux, and it always runs overclocked in your system.
Wait,
let's not burn out the
I
computer.
remember Yellow Dog. Wasn't that the PS3 distro?
No, that was the PowerPC one that you could run on. The
Which did
old-
run on the PS3.
Oh, it did
Yeah,
run
it
on the
did.
PS3. I never
It
got
did
to
run on the
it.
PS3, but it was original. YDL was the port of Red Hat Linux to PowerPC systems. It ran on I think what was it, Old World PowerPC Macs, eventually New World ones. Then
No, it ran on the old world ones. The M6. It was called MK Linux was for the old world Macs because I ran that on a Mac LC whatever it was at the time, and some Performas. And then when Yellow Dog came out and Linux PPC came out kind of around the same time, I installed those on a few of the pre G3 Macs, and it was weird because you would have to still boot through Mac OS, and then boot X was the extension in Mac OS that would allow the Linux distro to start up.
Wow, that's interesting.
So, Bill, you're not exactly right. So there is Old World and New World Macs in the PowerPC era too.
Oh,
Because the
okay.
Old World Macs were the PowerPC computers before the G3. So, like, remember the first two generations of PowerPC Macs that had the actual M68K Macintosh toolbox as a ROM chip in the computer.
like on the old
And so
68040.
the PowerPC chip had to emulate M68K to boot the computer.
Oh,
New World Macs took that out.
got it.
That's also why, like, if you go and look at some of the old PowerPC Linux distributions from, like, I don't know, the mid-90s, they'll talk about, like, having a boot stub that's actually written in M68K because they have to launch in the toolbox, which is macOS Classic on M68K, to then launch the PowerPC stub bootloader to then launch the Linux platform.
Really? Seems like a lot of, like a Rube Goldberg machine there.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, that story repeats itself forever and ever. Like, this is what we do now with, like, if you look at ARM computers today, we have to do, you know, we have to do a U-boot to then launch the grub, to then load the Linux, to then get to your OS. And, like, this story repeats itself over and over in the non-x86 world because people don't want to invest in, like, in making this stuff work well at the hardware and firmware layers, so that this is not a concern that people have to think about. And it's basically a mistake because that happens because when you're first starting out building out these platforms, right, you're working close to the hardware and everyone else around you is working close to the hardware. And so it's fine. But as it scales up and scales out, it becomes more and more complicated. And until you finally reach a breaking point where you fix this, this keeps happening. Like, this happened with x86 in the 90s. Like, anybody remember before ACPI, right? Like, before ACPI, you had to do all kinds of wacky things from the operating system to be able to understand what hardware was on there. Like, the reason plug and play was considered plug and pray with the Windows 95 was because before ACPI and PCI and all this other stuff, like, it was actually really difficult to correctly detect hardware.
I do remember this. I also remember how much I liked the Amiga platform because it was
because you didn't have a mechanism to find things. Yeah, well, because they actually like what Amiga doing differently was, well, they made the operating system part of the firmware in a little bit, right? Like they did the same thing that Apple did, except they put more of it there in a way where like drivers and whatever had generic interfaces and you could like actually interact with it, which allowed them to do fancy things like reasonably performant 3D without an accelerator card, right? Like those demos with CGI on the Amiga systems were things that PCs on other platforms couldn't do for like a decade.
It's true. Yeah. Yep. Smart chip design, I suppose. Actually, it ended up being the Amiga's Achilles heel, ultimately, though.
Well, yeah, because they couldn't adapt to any new requirements. It was really hard to...
Right.
Like, they built it for a conceived model that wound up no longer existing.
Right. So...
But it was still cool.
No, yes, still very cool. It pretty exciting at the time. Okay, this is just an aside, but so I just installed Kasts. I don't ever remember using this before, and it has one subscription on there right now. It's got Linux Out Loud. I've never run this before. How did it know? Is my computer messing with me?
Maybe it's using AI.
Could be. They should have Linux Saloon on there then.
Maybe Apple owns it.
I don't hope not. I hope not. That would be terrible. Well, cool. All right. So another application that I use, which it's kind of hit and miss right now, Haruna. Have you ever used that for your multimedia playing? It's MPV based. It's very lightweight. And it has a nice... So I've been using MPV specifically for... I have a computer I set up in the production office in the Michigan plant that I work at that has just a few specific cameras to watch, that where trucks are pulling in. And so I use MPV for that, and then that's actually when I started trying out Haruna for video streams. Haruna, Anna, so I'll type it out here, which is MPV. It's MPV based. Anyway, so it's a very nice looking application, but it seems a little bit Spartan. I don't know. Has anyone tried that? I think it's a plasma application. So, but I use for locking onto video streams. It was just a simple thing I made just to watch basically 3 video streams. So, works pretty well for that. So apparently, Blue Bubble doesn't like Haruna, based on his exclamation point. Am I kidding him? No. So
I've used Haruna only in the sense of like I played with it a little bit, but I didn't really see the benefit of using it on instead of MPV. So I just use MPV.
Yeah.
But I also like the super minimal aspects of MPV. Like I actually like the older versions the older UI they used to have than the new one. But it's MPV minimalism is my preference because it just, does what it needs to do, plays the things, and gets out of the way.
Yeah, I understand that.
I don't like MPV at all for basically the same reasons that Michael likes it.
Because it's minimal and gets out of your way? You want it to be in your way?
No, because it's minimal and difficult to interact
He wants
with.
it to be in your way. Yeah. It is heavy keyboard shortcut based, though. Yeah. So, like, a lot of the stuff that you would normally have a UI to interact with requires you to know the shortcuts. And that can easily be irritating to most people. I get that. But for some reason, I actually like it. I can't explain it.
I don't have good shortcut memory, so it doesn't work well for me.
Now, Natalie, you could just say this. You don't have to just type it out there. If you don't, says you don't use, so I used to use Qt. Wait, the GTK compatible later with because you don't like the look of Qt. Is that what you're saying? Qt. I think Qt sounds more fun to say.
Cute is how you're supposed to say it.
Well,
yeah,
it's cute.
officially it's supposed to be cute. Yeah.
Yep, it is. It is cute. And also, cute is cute, and it doesn't matter, and it can look however you want it to look. If you think
True.
it's ugly, go change it. That's the whole point of being cute.
Yeah, I really much prefer Qt to GTK. So, anyway, good times.
Same.
I mean, each to their own, right?
Yeah. So I think that's exactly. Use what you like.
Well, I mean, if
know.
you like GTK, if you like the GTK look and feel, then you're wrong. That's all.
How dare you? You're not supposed to say it out loud. It's true, but you're not supposed to say it out loud.
Well, I mean, he got to say that to me about the light mode thing, and I'm going to go and say that if you the same thing about the GTKs.
All right, so the GIF versus GIF for GIF.
GIF.
It's GIF.
It's graphics interchange format.
Right.
GIF.
Right.
I actually have a argument that is, I agree. GIF is clearly what it should be. However, I do have a counterpoint, like a devil's advocate thing. If you are talking to someone in a setting that you talk about sending them a GIF, the odds that they hear GIF is very high. But if you say I'm sending you a GIF, then there's no confusion. So technically,
You do know
in a
that GIF
verbal
is
sense,
actually, but the thing is, GIF is another image format.
but
I don't
then
know,
no one
Michael.
cares. No one
Michael, I
cares.
don't
There
know,
is
man.
literally a GIF format.
Yeah, but no one uses it, and it hasn't even been touched in like a ridiculously long time. So it's okay.
No
it doesn't
one
matter.
actually uses GIFs either. Modern GIFs are MP4 files.
That doesn't matter. The whole point is that people still use that term as describing it as that thing. So GIF, it fits because it eliminates verbal confusion.
No.
So
So like, I can't
GIF is
be
peanut
the
butter.
only one that thinks.
What was that? Okay. What
I
was that,
was
Manly?
gonna say, yeah, it's Nat. I was gonna say, I can't be the only one that's thinking this. The only reason I think of Jeff is because then I can make Jeff jokes. You get it? Yeah. That was supposed to be funny. Sorry.
It's all right. Linux Saloon is the best place to have a swing and a miss. So that's pretty much the story of my life here. Anyway, swing and a miss. So my favorite podcatching application that I've used that is now considered end of life, is unsupported. It actually specifically says you should go someplace else, which I thought was very rude. Is a CPod, just CPOD, and the great interface is great. Everything about that application was great. I loved it, and it's now abandonware, and it kind of makes me sad. I would like somebody like Neil to pick it up and keep supporting it, but I think
No.
I know, because who wants to actually maintain a Flatpak? That's kind of a pain in the rear end.
CPod was good though.
Yeah,
I think it used to be called something else like Cumulus Pod or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yep. Then became
Before.
CPod, and then because who can remember Cumulus Pod? But the CPod is
Or
really,
how to spell it.
yeah, who's else? Like Cumulonimbus.
I mean,
know what
but
that
it's
is.
like out of principle, it's an Electron app. I don't really want to deal with Electron apps, so it never really came onto my radar.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
rewrite it in Rust.
No.
Okay. You can vibe code it in.
Right. So anyway, I don't know if it's still a good application. I think I guess maybe I'll remove it because it asked me to. But now they got this Kasts. I'll try that out. Do you know if Kasts has any sort of the ability to synchronize with an external service?
I am not sure. I think it has an import function, but I don't know if it has a sync function.
Oh, it does have an account synchronization function. So I wonder how it says. Oh, they have gPodder.net and gPodder Nextcloud, so you can actually, that's how you can sync it. That's good to know. So you can sync it. You can get outside of the whatever ecosystem. Honestly, I found, I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but I found that I use YouTube now for most of my podcasting purposes. Is anybody here doing that besides me?
Yeah, I'm trying to use
for
YouTube
video
Music.
podcast, it's kind of the only good option.
Yeah, I do it as well.
Well, I mean, I do it for just even the audio only ones. So I just take my phone, I fold it up, put it in my back pocket, and just keep listening to whatever it is. Because I don't normally watch the podcast. I mean, yeah, sometimes it's nice to see people's faces. So I find that's actually been probably my favorite way, because then I have the YouTube Premium, so I can crank it up to even faster, 2x speed, and that's also pretty cool. So anyway.
Yeah, and you can also download it if you need to, which is nice.
The thing I don't like about it is every time my podcast list clears, because I've listened to all of it, I have to put it back on 2x. And that irritates me.
Yeah, I think the problems I have is sometimes I'll have it go 2x or 2.5 speed, and then I'll switch to music, and then I'm like so.
I have a separate stuff for everything. So I watch YouTube on a TV, and I listen to podcast or music on separate things. So if I'm watching something on phone, it's usually max speed for the reason of I'm trying to do it quickly. And then if I'm listening to music, it's in Spotify. So I kind of just separate the things and never even think about it. But that would be very irritating, because occasionally I'll watch something on my phone and forget that it's going super fast, and have to go back to, or at least give myself some sanity by putting it back to normal.
Yeah, it depends on how. So some podcasters or whatever, they talk very fast, so I will have to slow those down. Some talk slower, and so I crank those up. That's just
The worst is you find a podcast that has somebody who's one of the hosts talks really fast and the other one talks really slow, and it's like going back and forth. You have to choose pick your poison type of thing.
Yeah, basically I scale it down to the slower. That's the best I can do. Kind of like when matching memory on your system, it scales to the slower speed. If you have mixed memory.
So in the chat, Trevorrow, is that how you say it? Says the only podcast that they follow is Linux Saloon, Security Now, and This Week in Tech. And I feel like if you don't add Pseudo Show and This Week in Linux to that list, it's an insult to the people in this. And you must.
And I'll add to that saying that
I feel
Security Now
insulted.
is awesome.
I feel insulted now. Now that Michael has pointed it out, now I feel insulted.
Exactly. So, Trevorrow, you need to fix it. No pressure, though. Just do it now.
I find podcasting
no
become my primary source of entertainment, I guess, at this point. I don't really watch outside of Paramount Plus. I don't really watch anything that's not Star Trek. I really don't watch much of anything else.
Yeah, Strange New Worlds, big fan.
Yeah, I see. I think that Enterprise looks pretty good. Right now.
Have you seen the Academy thing, though?
I see.
I haven't
Star
seen
Trek
it.
Academy.
I'll have to check it out for sure.
It is ridiculous.
In a good way or bad way?
Bad. It's basically Discovery again.
Yeah, it kind of had that feeling to it. I don't know. I don't really care for Discovery. This is not about podcasting, but
Some parts of Discovery, but there's other parts that are barely watchable. I like Saru a lot.
I've been watching Enterprise, the Star Trek Enterprise. I have to say
that one's a good one.
I think the character development on that one is really good. Dr. Phlox, he's great. His mannerisms, everything.
Yeah. It's a really good. It's actually like there's certain parts of it that are kind of odd, but the majority of that show is good. I think that show was canceled way before it should have been.
Yeah,
and season 4 is easily the best season of that show, and it is that season is actually fantastic. The ending is horrible, but that season is awesome, and it's a shame that they canceled it. But I will say the Temporal Cold War is one of the worst storylines I've ever seen in any show ever. It was horrendous, and I'm glad they killed it without any fanfare. It's like season 3 is all dedicated to this terrible storyline, and then season 4 ends it within the first episode. And it's like, nah, this is stupid.
I don't remember.
I've really been digging on Alien Earth. Check that out.
Yeah, which one?
Alien Earth. It's a new series about the alien. It's pretty good.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. So
I saw that one. That was actually pretty good. Not that great.
So another great application for I don't know what you'd call this exactly. Maybe it says in the application. Have you heard of GrayJay?
Yes, the Louis Rossmann thing.
Is it a Louis Rossmann thing? So it's one. Well, I didn't know that was Louis Rossmann. So it's one application that I can use to to stream, whether it's even like Patreon, Twitch, YouTube, Rumble, whatever you want, basically, different sources, so different, whatever you want to watch from like one interface. It's pretty good. There's some UI things that I think are a little bit weird, and I had some issues every once in a while of it not being able to play a source, largely from Patreon, it seems like, and then YouTube would kind of quit out on me. But
I like the idea of having a single app that can let you watch multiple things, but I don't like I'm pretty sure that it also still does like ad blocking and stuff like that, and I don't like ads either. I feel like a little bit like unethical aspects of it in the sense of like not having something that, I don't know. Like it feels a little weird to be getting free content from people and then not even watching an ad or two.
Well, I pay for YouTube Premium, so hopefully that.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
If you have YouTube Premium, that totally solves it.
Right.
But I feel like GrayJay by default doesn't require, people are using it to bypass. Because there was this like kind of a drama in the beginning where they were fighting YouTube or something because of it.
Oh, I didn't know that. Anyway, I thought it's pretty nice because it's one place I can go to look at everyone's things. Well, the reason that I like it is because I'm a patron supporter of a variety of content creators, and so what sometimes I miss, because I'm just on YouTube normally, and if I miss something, like if I'm not like actively watching the Patreon, I can miss like some behind the scenes type things that from creators and whatnot, because I don't always do that. But if I have this up, then I can see everything. That's just it's a one consolidated feed for everything. It's kind of like an RSS reader, but for video content essentially. And so that's been very valuable. So
yeah, that's cool.
Check out. GrayJay is pretty cool for that when it works. I should say. I got to caveat that. Sometimes it can't lock onto a stream or it errors out, and I don't know why it does that. But it allows you to, it's got an area where you have different sources. You can actually log in through different credentials on that, and so it's one area that you can go to for all that. Also, the popping out of the different windows sometimes to watch a video is not quite as clean as what you can like with a Firefox or Chromium with a little display window. That sometimes doesn't seem to work quite as well for that. So it's usually when I'm kind of more of a dedicated time, not like while I'm busy doing something else. Anyway, I think it's pretty good. GrayJay, check it out if you're so inclined. Does anybody else here have anything that they use, they like to use? I know like Anna Rita, she uses some sort of I can't recall what it is, but Anna Rita in the chat, who she always has there's an application she uses that's like MiniTube or some sort of YouTube application that she uses. Maybe she'll pipe that in. But anybody else use anything to for their multimedia persuasions on their computer?
I like Audacious.
Audacious?
The old school, MP3 player. Just real simple.
I use Elisa.
Yeah, you just drag it in the playlist, whatever you want. You can hit random if you put a bunch of stuff in there, and it works great.
I use this super rare that most people have never heard of, this application called Spotify. And
evil.
I don't know.
You are a terrible person.
Yes, yes, you
I think
are.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's growing. It's growing in the mainstream a little bit. Yeah.
You're a
Elisa,
terrible person. I repeat.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
But that's his most enduring
But actually,
quality.
Spotify has a lossless support audio now. I mean, lossless is a debatable thing, but it's actually pretty good. So anybody who is interested in streaming music, that's an option.
I think Elisa was supposed to be like the replacement to Amarok for some people. I think, like as the default player.
Well, Elisa was partly inspired by simplifying Amarok and also by Banshee. So,
that's a classic.
Yeah, well, Banshee was my favorite music player for a long, long time. And it was nice to see like the similar type of care and focus in Elisa that Banshee had. I mean, it does not entirely the same things because Banshee was focused more on being a jukebox and Elisa is more about a playlist-oriented player. So Nate, you might actually be more interested in Elisa than Amarok these days because Elisa is playlist-oriented. But I like the focused interface, and I like how well it works, and it's very lightweight on my system. And apparently, Elisa is also available for Android. So there you go.
There's one I like that's like that actually is kind of unknown, and some people probably have used it, but it's called QNMP, and it just means the cute multimedia player. But QNMP is a super lightweight application. Like there's two different modes. When you first go to their website, you'll see it looks like Winamp from like the old days, and it also supports some Winamp scans, so you can actually use those if you want to. But that's one of the options. And if you go into I think it's called Classic GUI or something like that, which is very confusing because the Classic is the Winamp thing. But whatever.
Time? QNMP?
QMM. Yeah, two M's. QNMP.
So yeah. Quebec, Mike, Papa.
Yes. QMMP. Yeah, and it's actually it looks like Winamp, and I do not like that mode. My preference is the other GUI version where you turn on the classic mode, and it looks like a regular app and a player. But the thing is that it is like very streamlined, super lightweight. It supports like if you have an enormous playlist of music that you've collected over the years, it easily can support it. Like it can support importing of like thousands and thousands of songs, and it will not have any kind of hiccup. It's kind of crazy in that sense because I actually thought I had a lot with like 10,000, and turns out I've had Jill had like 70,000 or something that she collected or whatever, and it still ran just fine. And it took a while for it to all get imported, but you can in some applications like while it's importing you can't use it. Whereas QMP, you can, like as it's grabbing things in, it can play it, while it's doing the rest of the buffering imports. So I think it's a really a underrated application for that sense.
It is. my
QMMP
favorite-
reminds me of Foobar 2000.
I love.
It's very
QMMP.
similar to Foobar. Yeah.
I've been using it forever to listen to music. All of the XMMS plugins that I used to use when XMMS was a thing worked with QMMP. They would all just come through, and it could import Winamp playlists, and it actually looks like the original OG classic Winamp from the late 90s. That's how a lot of
By default, it looks very much Winampy.
I
But
mean,
you
it
can also
literally
just-
re-implements the Winamp 2 skin format, so this is completely not surprising.
rock solid.
But if you don't want it to look like that, you don't have to. So that
No,
is
you
something
don't.
like,
You
because
can
some
do
people
whatever you
don't
want.
like that design. Yeah, but you can make it look like a normal, regular app too. So that's what I prefer. But the functionality of it is crazy in terms of like it is super streamlined, super like it's very powerful application. It doesn't work with any streaming tools, but that's not really what it's for anyway. So. But there you go. That's my recommendation for a music player for anybody who wants
QMMP.
who has a huge collection.
Yeah, I think I'm going to check out the QMMP.
Yeah, I gotta try it.
Yeah.
See what happens when I put my massive collection into it.
Yeah, actually, report back because I'm curious. Because it's like every time I've had someone test it that has more than me, it seems to work fine for them too. So I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm dying to know.
That's pretty cool. I haven't heard of that until just now. Now, do you use QMMP like all the time? Then is it like something like your regular like that's your default, or is that just one you just use?
No,
for...
if that's when I used to use exclusively. But when I'm on my phone, I use Spotify now. So like sometimes I'm listening on my phone, sometimes listening on my computer. So it just depends. Like also, if I want to listen to some stuff that I haven't heard in a while, I'll use the laptop with QMMP. But sometimes I just kind of because there's some songs that I cannot get on Spotify, so that bums me out. So I listen to those when I can in the laptop. But otherwise, I'm typically on Spotify these days. But if I had the patience to reset everything up, QMMP is what I would use.
Gotcha. Actually, it's kind of funny when you say that. For those that have a massive or a rather large song collection, what year? What year do you think it fizzled out as there's no more like the imports dropped off?
That's interesting.
2016.
Okay.
Oh wow, that's a lot. That's a lot newer than I would expect it because mine is I think I started using Spotify in 2011, and I went back and forth between that and Tidal, and then using my own on and off for a few years. So I feel like the last time I added something to my regular was probably 2019, 2020 maybe.
The last time, well, okay, if I exclude the fact that I literally purchased from an artist like 8 albums of video game music covers like last week.
Details.
The last time, yeah, I do that occasionally. Like I'll occasionally like buy some from an artist so I found a guy who made on YouTube. I saw that they made a Middle Eastern Arabian style Sonic music, and they made like a whole series of albums of this for Sonic 1, 2, and 3. And I was like, oh, this sounds awesome. And so I bought his albums.
That is a very specific genre of music.
Hey, it sounds good.
I don't doubt that. I'm just saying, like, that's when people say, like, I've got some new music. It's usually not that specific, which is kind of awesome.
It's super cool. But like, most of the time these days, like, I tend to wind up listening to stuff on YouTube because it has become rarer for people to publish music for me to download in the first place. I always want to support the artists, And if they don't have a way for me to do it other than listening to it on YouTube, then that is what I will do. So I think the last time I regularly started adding to, I regularly added stuff to my library was 2021. Because it was kind of after that like the iTunes Music Store started being de-emphasized from Apple and all these other things. Google Play Music went away because like I used to buy music from Google and then download it in because all the music was DRM free. All this other stuff like just started collapsing around that time. And so it became harder for me to add stuff to my local library.
Yeah.
For me, I think it was a couple months ago. Like I generally get all my music from the bands at their shows.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I'm into like a lot of metal, so I like buy a shirt usually if I like it, and a CD, and then just take it home and rip it. That's how I get my music. I like physical media a lot.
Yeah, I do too. I do still
I
occasionally buy
miss physical
CDs.
media. I miss the fancy, colorful, like printed artwork CDs, like the ones
yeah.
like they would do on the first presses, which like clearly showed that they cared, right?
Mhm. Yep, I agree. And Sean, yes, you are correct. It is about time I fire up my SID music player on my Commodore 64 Ultimate, but I haven't unwrapped it yet. It's under the tree. So, but I do buy like SoundCloud. I think was it SoundCloud, or is it Bandcamp? I can't remember which one it is. Maybe it's both.
It's Bandcamp. SoundCloud
Bandcamp,
is
yeah.
a streaming thing.
Okay, that's Bandcamp. So there, every once in a while, if there's a song that I like really catches me, I find that they're not songs that are on the radio. I'm mostly bored with a lot of the, like, I kind of feel like it's been AI generated for the last 15 years, music. So, but every once in a while, I'll stumble into like a really interesting artist on YouTube or something, and I will buy their song. I like to support artists that produce interesting music.
So there's actually like people who don't use Spotify probably don't like know that, like, because all these different things have these like wrapped up system, like, after the year that like this is what you're listening to and all that stuff. And there's sometimes people share their wrapped stuff, and a few people from work were doing that. And one of the things that Spotify has in the latest one is like it's trying to guess your age based on the music that you listen to.
You're probably an old man,
And
then.
it guessed my age was 22.
Oh. Well, there you go.
Yeah, it shocked me. I was like, I'm not sure how that's possible, but okay, cool.
Well, I've actually noticed a lot of kids I bump into, like younger people. When I say kids, I mean younger than me. They like a lot of the stuff from the 70s, I notice, like 70s and 80s. And like that I'm surprised by how well they know a lot of these old rock artists or even the Beatles. So I don't know, maybe it's just where I live, maybe it's just the kids around me. Can't say for sure. So
Heck, Nate, I grew up with Aerosmith.
Aerosmith, yeah.
Yes,
So
and Foghat and all that old stuff. So I don't blame you for that.
I mean, I think when talent is talent,
Yes,
So,
yes.
I mean, as a kid, I grew up with mostly like my dad's old 8-track stuff. So most of the music I grew up with was from the 60s and 70s rather than
Really?
the 80s and 90s. Except for Michael Jackson music, which I, in fact, had albums for in the form of vinyl because my dad liked that stuff, too. So
Nice.
So
Neil, you know where I'm coming from with that.
Oh, absolutely, I do. But I wasn't even born in that era. Like I just wound up having it because that's what my dad liked.
I do have to say,
And Shasta is here. Welcome, bro.
Michael Jackson like when if you listen to stuff, he is incredibly talented. I mean, he is so incredibly talented. So it's pretty astounding, actually. So one more application I want to highlight. So Trevaro, I think I said that correctly. He said strawberry, so you can check that out as well. It's kind of a neat looking application. There's a flat pack if you want to check that out. But it looks like kind of has a, I don't know, looks like a good looking application, I think. So, yeah. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Elisa, maybe a little bit. Actually, kind of looks like old Amarok, really. But it's Qt based, so can organize your music, supports formats and CD playback, many formats and CD playback, and pulls song lyrics from Genius, Music Match, Chart Lyrics, and a bunch of others. That's pretty cool. All right, well, it is 21:35, so we should probably move on to the housekeeping. All right, so a couple of changes going to be happening here on Linux Saloon. So we are essentially going to be going independent, and we're going to have our own Discord. We have our own Discord server, I think they're called.
You're going to go back to the old. You're going to go back to your own Discord server.
Right. So we used to be Biddle or Big Data Linux Live, and then we became Linux Saloon, joined up with Tux Digital. Now we're going to be separating from Tux Digital because things are changing there. So we're going to have our own, and we'll provide the information there in the show notes and everything else if you want to join that. So we're going to have our own thing going on there. It'll be tons of fun, I'm sure. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of maintaining such things because every once in a while you can get some what do you call them? People who are rabble-rousing trolls, and I don't like to come across. I don't like.
You could have just called them rabble-rousers because that is a word.
Is that a proper word?
Yeah, it's a real word. And I'm not just trolling you this time.
Oh, are you sure? So, anyway, we're gonna so it's I guess we weren't like too heavily intertwined, so we have our own Patreon and stuff like that too. But yeah, anyway, so you can join us on our Discord server. It's a little bit simpler. I don't know, maybe we'll do some other things too. I haven't quite figured it out yet. I have so little time. I don't know my face from the back of my head sometimes. So anyway,
I'm hoping we can collaborate here and there, Nate.
Absolutely. The other thing too is, so next week, kind of like be an open mic night of sorts. We're going to be doing kind of this year in review. So if you have any stories or things that you think we should cover, some like exciting events, highlights from the Linux Saloon things that we've been doing, that'd be we can review that. But I'm going to go over just some interesting news stories. Now that they're months past, how do I feel about them now? And and I guess we'll have to. We don't have the Tux Digital umbrella from trolls so much anymore, but they'll be all right. We'll leave it up to somebody else. Maybe I'll have to do some more. But anyway, so there's some of that going on there in the chat. Any thoughts, comments? It's an interactive show. It shouldn't be all about me talking. I see some thumbs up from a dark room from a sinister man.
Sorry, I just made it in. I had to. Yeah, I had a very long stream today, so I had like a 7-hour stream. Yeah, I had a 7-hour stream today, so
cool. I'd probably stop talking after 2 hours.
Yeah, well, wasn't really talking. I was problem solving, so a little tired. Okay. I had to go get some grub, so yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Anyway, yeah. So you're going to be on your own Discord. Sounds interesting. Sounds cool.
Yeah. Well, it was mothballed, and then now it's we're pulling it out of mothballs. We're gonna do some, polish it up. Maybe put some new phasers on it. Maybe put in some quantum torpedoes. We'll be good to go. I don't know how that works.
I forgot that I was actually in there. I went and looked because I have so many Discord guilds on the left side of the app. I realized that I'm actually already in it, and I have been in there for years.
Yeah. I think 8 years. I think you've been a part of it or something like that. Because I saw that.
Wow.
So anyway, some changes coming up. Also, we have a calendar, Linux Saloon calendar. I'll be updating that as well. So have anything events. It's a Google calendar because it is. Also, if you have any suggestions or discussion suggestions, distribution suggestions, applications that we should be trying out, or ideas for polls, feel free to send them to suggestions at linuxsaloon.com. I've been really good about checking my email as of late. No, I don't care about SEO for the website, so you don't have to send me any of those anymore. But yeah, I do stay up on my email most of the time. I get quite a lot, but so yeah.
Now you can see me.
I can see you. Actually, I liked it better before. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That's fine. Yeah, that was probably deserved. I haven't been around, so.
I'm just kidding. I just like to poke whenever I can poke, and I know you can handle it because you're an old crusty Gen Xer, so I can.
Yeah,
I can pretty much
exactly.
say whatever I want to you, and you'll be fine with it. I think.
Yeah.
I think I could be wrong.
No.
All right, so I guess we're gonna move on.
Don't make me wanna get like some sort of vendetta going on. That would be the only thing.
Well, I'll try to avoid that to the best of my ability, but I can't make any promises. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the community free pour. And so I think, was it Seeker or Ben or I don't know, maybe you, Shaston? I don't know.
One of us.
One of you had something really exciting. What's that?
It's kind of a shared free pour this time, isn't it, Red?
Okay. So,
Yes, sir, it is.
all right. Well, you have to get your own glasses, though.
Would you like to? Sorry, man. Go ahead.
All right. So I want to basically say thank you for the Freeport again. But basically, there's a new operating system. We've actually consolidated a lot of the operating systems that we're all sharing, and we're putting them under like kind of like an umbrella called Ages. Accretion OS is one. Natalie's a part of that, and a main primary developer as well. Natalie's also going to help us out with Storm OS, or myself, and as well as Genesis OS is a new operating system we're working on to be a gamer's operating system. So we're going to have a lot of the options for being a gaming operating system as well. And the way it's structured, and also with Echo OS, the way it's structured is Accretion would be for beginners, very beginner level. Medium would be Storm OS. Medium to advanced would be Eco OS. And then the gaming edition would be just general everyone else who wants to use that. But we're putting it all under one umbrella we call Ages. And we're working on a unified CalMars installer, as well as updating and adding more information to Storm OS, updating that. And we're updating and adding more information to the Echo, which is kind of already done, but we always add a few more things to it. But definitely Genesis OS is the last one we're working on.
Okay.
But if anybody else has anything else to say, go ahead. My team.
I have pretty much a few words that I want to put out. This is pretty much the new direction going forward with all of these distros. They're going to be consolidated all under this one umbrella. It's gonna make managing each one of these distros more efficient and a lot more robust. Second thing I want to talk about as well, coming from my end, specifically, I want to let everybody know that December 30th, 4 p.m., on my YouTube channel, I'm going to be holding a Q4 OS Trinity Edition live Linux installation. 4 p.m. December 30th. I would like a lot of you to come and watch me do this live install, talk about Q4S. And in this live stream, I will also be explaining the history of KDE Free.
Oh. And why it was awesome?
Yeah. I've experienced Trinity a couple times, and I think it's going to be great to pretty much go over the history of KDE Free and how it led it to become the Trinity desktop environment. So basically, it's going to be not just a Linux live installation, but it's going to be pretty much another saga in my history of Linux series as well. So keep a lookout for that.
Sweet.
All right.
The big question I have is, what is Shaston going to be doing here? Is he still just going to be like trolling in the background, or is he playing some music?
You guys will really want to know?
No,
Sure.
I'm a little afraid.
Yeah. So, like 3 months ago, I think it was, I made a video. Basically it was about Ex Libre and how there was somebody who proved with code that some of what Wayland was saying about Xorg was untrue. And that's all I said. I didn't like cast any aspersions on anyone. I didn't do anything. I got death threats. I'm still laughing about this. I mean, I don't really care one way or the other. If you want to come to Mexico, come on, bring it. So anyway, it put a little bit of a fire up my backside, and well, I've decided, kind of like some of these guys, they're gonna be working on their own distro. I'm doing the same thing, and today I came out with a really interesting proof of concept to replace System D. And I'm basically waging war against a lot of these Red Hat devs and showing that old school stuff works, and it works better than what they're given credit for. So anyway, my proof
most of this stuff ain't developed by Red Hat.
Wayland and System D is.
Nope.
Yes,
you know who the top developers for System D do not work for Red Hat. 2 of them work for Microsoft. A couple of them are independent. Some of them are Debian people. One works for Collabora. Like, it goes out there in the mix. For Wayland, there are no Red Hat developers that work on the Wayland project upstream.
Yes, there is. You're absolutely wrong about that.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, I know that Neil is.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I don't really want to get into it. I just think that whole direction of putting one abstraction on top of another is completely in the wrong direction, and so I'm going to prove it. And when
why are you using Linux then?
Why am I using Linux?
Yeah, why are you using Linux?
I like minimalism.
You don't want abstractions on top of abstractions. Then you need to go further back in computing, like go to DOS or something.
Well, yeah, I used to use BSD, and I probably would if I had the hardware to run BSD on.
I mean, BSD is still more abstractions, just different ones.
Yes, I know, but
here's what I want to know.
I'm saying is,
just as an aside,
yeah,
like one of the things that I'm really impressed with recently in Linux, and this is like in the last few years, is I can use my Bluetooth keyboard now, like from the login screen. That was not a thing, 5 years ago. I don't know when it became a thing where you could use it. And here's what I'm wondering, I'm wondering if something like a systemd boot instead of grub would actually allow me to use Bluetooth keyboards right from the boot screen, because that would be pretty cool. Kind of like how Mac OS, the Bluetooth interfaces will work. Like you can actually wake a computer up with the Bluetooth. Is that even possible?
So that is entirely dependent. So SD boot And most UEFI boot managers, with the exception of Grub, do not contain a portability or abstraction or driver layer to be able to handle this stuff. So it has to be supported by the computer's firmware. So if your computer's firmware supports being woken up via Bluetooth, then SD-Boot will as well. So bootloaders, more traditional ones like Grub or whatever, they provide their own hardware interface layer, their own driver model, and that sort of thing. They're basically mini operating systems, and they could independently support that. But I think the thing is that generally the trend has been moving towards, we kind of want hardware activation at early stages to be done by the computer firmware rather than by the bootloader or boot manager. So unless the firmware supports it, that's probably not going to be a thing. That being said, I mean, Wake on LAN has been a thing in computer firmware forever. I don't know why Wake on Bluetooth couldn't be a thing too. I guess just not enough people know that it could conceptually be possible. And really, I don't think I've ever heard of anyone actually asking for it. So, like, if it's a feature that people want to have, like, I guess it's up to, like, asking computer makers, like, can we start having something like this? I think it makes sense because keyboards have been going wireless, and increasingly you see Bluetooth being the protocol being used for this type of stuff. And with things like Bluetooth Low Energy, you could, in fact, do things like this without driving battery usage down the drain, right? Like, so there is an opportunity for that sort of thing, but, like, it all comes down to, like, the firmware needs to support it because, like, that's where the power controls are.
Gotcha. Well, the point is, whatever needs to be done, that's a really neat feature on Macs. Like, that's the only thing I'll really give them, actually. I think they're terrible. It's a terrible interface otherwise.
Because the firmware is the full Mac OS operating system, right? Like, you have a full computer operating system running at, like, this is something Apple has done for a very long time. With the exception of the time that they run that they were x86 and used UEFI, every generation of Macs has always run the full Mac OS in early boot. Whether it was with the ROMs, way back in the M68K and Old World PowerPC, or they had, the Toolbox interface or any of these other things that lived at early stage. They always ran a full operating system for early boot. And this continues today. Actually, if you buy a PowerPC computer from like Raptor or IBM or whatever with open firmware, the open firmware bootloader is actually a full-on Linux inside of it.
Really?
So, like, you're always using Linux at every stage of initialization in a modern PowerPC computer. And you can thank Sun for that, because that's how open firmware was always designed to work.
That's pretty cool.
Because
I had no idea.
open firmware was a smart project.
So what does the framework use for its firmware? I can't recall what it is.
Framework PCs, x86 and RISC-V are UEFI. So they're based on the Tiano Core project that Intel released, like, I don't know, 15 years ago as part of making UEFI partially, now completely open source. So EDK2 is the project that comes from Tiano Core that makes most UEFI firmware implementations are derived from that.
Okay.
But yeah, like, and then for Chromebooks, they use Coreboot.
Right.
Because Google requires that Chromebooks have open source firmware. Like, it's a requirement. They can't not do that. So every Chromebook uses Coreboot, or EDK2 or both. And usually that code is published or contributed to the upstream projects. Weirdly enough, it makes Chromebooks the most open computer platform that exists today.
The more
that's
you know.
An interesting. Yeah, that's actually really interesting, because I would like to. I don't have a USB. A Bluetooth keyboard, but if I did, definitely would be awesome if it did actually work on startup. So that's probably a problem I might actually look at solving, because I actually have been looking at solving a lot of problems. But today, I basically I made two init systems work together. I had DNet working on PID1, and then Shepherd basically handling some of the bigger processes. and it looks promising. Very promising.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm big into the idea of there's an itch, scratch it. You know.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thank you very much for that little update. We're going to go ahead and move on to the last call here. I don't know if anyone had anything that they wanted to go around the horn here. Anybody had anything they wanted to kind of say that they had any projects or anything else like that? Oh, we got Neil. I don't know if you had anything you want to share with the class besides sudo show. Outside of that?
That's pretty much it at the moment.
Okay.
I've gotten back to doing streams again because I fixed up my setup, and so I'm able to do that again. So I occasionally stream me doing Fedora work on Twitch, or upstream work in other places, like working on PackageKit or any of the other projects that or Drakit or any of the other projects that I'm an upstream developer on.
And you should check out those streams because it's an incredible way to learn how to interface with a project. And I think a lot of people who are new to Linux oftentimes don't know where to start. They don't know what the entry point is to get into a project. And some of what Neil is doing is at a very high level, and some of it is at a very entry level, just simple package maintenance or figuring out how a downstream package interfaces with an upstream package. I would encourage anyone to check it out because every time that I've watched it, I've learned something new by the minute.
We'll definitely check it out. Yeah. I think I'm doing my my Linux from scratch stream on Tuesday. So it would be probably a 10 or 12 hour stream.
I was going to say, it sounds like a long one.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty neat. If I can tolerate being tuned in for that long to anything, then I'll have to give that a try because Linux from scratch it's a book. It's not even a distro.
Yeah, it's not that hard. The compiling part is the easy part. It's everything else that's difficult. I haven't done it in a while. I haven't done it in 6 or 7 years, but I have an idea, and if my idea works, I have an operating system that will boot with all of your networks processes and stuff. It'll boot at about 50 megabytes.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so I'm basically just showing some. Just want to see like some old school stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Then I know, Mike, you're working on some other applications too, but I don't know if you're ready to talk about that yet. But
no, not yet. I still got a lot to flesh out on my current project. But yeah,
so pretty excited.
But hey,
about that.
be sure to check out my other open source projects.
Yeah. So you got Marklite and Resizal. Marklite.app and Resizal.app. Check that out. Also, don't forget your classic BBS.net.
That's right.
Service as well. Then Jinda, I think he's designing the next crane to design nothing. Okay.
No, with all the projects I'm working at work are boring and pathetic.
They're probably more interesting than you give them credit for.
Well, I did a basket that's like 12 feet by 20 feet to hold 30,000 pounds, and it's so huge. It's just a big giant box.
That is pretty cool. So is it a woven basket? Did you weave steel?
No, we didn't weave the steel. We welded it together, actually, believe it or not. I know it's going on a limb there to do that old welding thing, but
I think if you could weave a stainless steel basket, instead of
that'd be awesome.
That'd be pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't rust either.
It's true. But you can get it to rust.
Oh yeah,
just take longer. And then I want to bring up Sean. He says he's been focused on contributing to OpenPrint 3D, so you can check that out. OpenPrint 3D. It's kind of a neat thing as well. Let's see. And Dale, he took off here, but he's got some stuff on YouTube and Twitch as well. lowtechlinux.com, check him out. I'm on a podcast called Linux Out Loud. I just recently recorded with Bill and Wendy. It's good times. I always learn something from Bill every time. I can't actually spend a period of time with Bill and not learn something. So he's a wealth of information.
I watched it this morning. It was a good episode. So.
Well, the less I talk. So if you're wanting to check out a podcast, check out Linux User Space, the linuxuserspace.show. So they have they're doing a pre-show, basically. They have about Zorin. They talk about Zorin, Winboat, and they learn about talk about WebKit, which used to be called KHTML. Well, it's really good. I haven't listened to it yet, but it's always a good podcast to listen to for quite a bit of fantastic information. So check out linuxuserspace.show. Also, I want to thank you all for your support, however you do it, being a part of the conversation, both the Discord meeting and YouTube stream, as well as everyone for watching the show after the fact. We'll be moving to a new Discord channel next week, so to the Linux Saloon Discord channel, server, whatever it's called. I don't know what the terminology. I would say, I don't know, is it called server? Is that what they call it? Like Discord servers?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't set up the server, but it's set up. So check that out. I'll have a link to that also in the show notes. So I also want to thank everyone involved in making Linux and open source tools possible for us to not only have this conversation, but also to have fun and enjoy our technology. Linux truly puts personal back in a personal computer. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to tip your developers, and please, always, remember to Linux responsibly. So, until next time, see yous. And also, I forgot to let the credits roll. So I'm going to go ahead and let those roll a little bit while I stammer and just kind of blabber my mouth a little bit. So.
I'll be yapping.
Hey man,
Yeah,
when are we
yes.
gonna see? When are we gonna see the chicken cam?
The chicken cam?
The coop cam.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I want to redo my chicken coop first.